Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be a recommendation list of asexual and aromantic rep books that I have read. I will note in the description which ones I know for sure are own voices, but with queer books, own voice is a little complicated because not everyone is out, so I recommend the other ones anyway. There will be another video that is for aromantic book recs, where we'll have allosexual aromantic rep and also Aroace. There are also Aroace books on this list, which is someone who's both asexual and aromantic, and then there are asexual alloromantic. There's lots of vocab if you're not familiar. I will link down below some 101 videos if you don't know much about asexuality, and I'll link information about aromanticism as well, because a lot of education about them both tends to go hand in hand. And then you can prep for my next video, which I still have a lot of books left that I need to read to have a nice chunk of aromantic books to recommend. But while you're here, I want to let you know that I make Pride merch, a lot of asexual stuff, but also stuff in the colors of other flags. I made these, which are little earrings with purple, white, and black petals in them, and a little gray knife. I've made quite a few pride earrings, a lot of rainbow colors and lesbian flags, a few others. I also crochet, so I have this trans flag colors hat, a rainbow one, and various can cozies. I need to get more black and gray and white small yarn so that I can make the aromantic and asexual flags of those, but I do have those in hat form. So if you're interested in any of that, that shop will also be linked below. Now, I think that that is the entirety of the intro I need. Oh, and this bracelet was created by Michelle from Thor Wants Another Letter. I'm not sure if she's making them anymore, but I really appreciate that. It is in the asexual colors. So let's start with the Aroace books, and then we'll work on to the Alloace books. After the Dragons by Cynthia Zhang. I read this for the Trans Rights Readathon. It's also written by a trans author. And it is a romance between two young men, I guess in their upper 20s, in an alternate Earth that's very similar, except there are dragons. Small ones, pretty much. And it's set in Beijing, and these dragons are not well taken care of, and a lot of them were bred to be pets but are stray, and so they are making it on their own in the city. And one of our characters, Kai, kind of runs a rescue center out of his apartment, and he falls in love with this biologist who works nearby, and is also somewhat interested in dragons, and it's so cute and so sweet. And the biologist is on the aromantic and asexual spectrums, and they have a little discussion about that. It's so precious and soft, and I love the dragon part, of course. And yeah, it's like 130 pages, and there's some melancholy to it because you know at the beginning that Kai has a terminal disease, so be aware of that going in. But overall, it was just really gave me a lot of wonderful feelings. Then Fire Becomes Her by Rosiee Thor, who's also trans, and this has a trans character as well. This has like 3 different Arrow spectrum characters. I would say it has QPR rep as well, and a lot of the time the main character spends questioning whether she actually has romantic attraction or if she just feels pressured to have romantic attraction, and like it's a lot of her figuring that out, and meeting other people who have it figured out and kind of them helping her accept herself. Meanwhile, it's a political fantasy, not where the people who it's about are high up and are doing politics. It's people at the bottom of the hierarchy working with a campaign to try to get more power so that they can actually change things for the better. and trying to change people's minds and help people in the meantime as much as they can. I love this cover. Then we have the Tropic of Serpents, which is the second book, I think, in the Lady Trent series. I read this one quite a while ago, and I'm pretty sure the characters Arrow and Ace, not just one or the other. And this character is a side character. She's kind of an assistant to Lady Trent, who is someone who studies dragons. This is in a world kind of like Victoria era England, where they were colonizing a lot of places. And this lady travels around the world studying dragons and writing books about dragons. The assistant travels along with Lady Trent and basically is doing this as a way to escape from her parents who want to matchmake for her. And it's a lot about like different cultures' ways of interacting with dragons. And yeah, it's very cool science fiction-y, historical fiction-y way of looking at dragons, who are usually a fantasy, straight fantasy creature. Then we have Tarnished Are the Stars, also by Rosiee Thor, which has kind of three main characters, and one of them is Aroace. This is set on a world, this is another one I read a really long time ago, where people are not allowed to have mechanical prostheses and body parts. So like pacemakers are not allowed, and mechanical prosthetic legs and things like that. But there are a set of people who need those things. So there are like underground association of people who have mechanical hearts and other parts. Our Aroace character, I think, is the son of one of the leaders of the world. And another of our main characters is someone with, I think, a mechanical heart. And so they and the third main character, who I can't remember who that was, kind of work together to change the system. Then Deathless Divide. The first book technically has this representation as well, but you don't really explore it or have that character be a main character until this book. This main character is bisexual, and she's the main character of the first book. The second book, this character is also a main character. She's in the first book as a side character, and she is Aroace. And this is an alternate history where, when the Civil War was fairly well underway, the US one, zombies started popping up from the dead bodies. So instead of the progression of the Civil War that happened in the real world, here white people started making black people work as defenders of the white people, and so black men were sent to the front lines of the war, and black women were sent as bodyguards for white women. This duology kind of follows what might happen if that happened. Then Ace is Wild, which I read much more recently, is about a group of 5 aces, some of whom are also aromantic. The mother of the main character has been arrested for doing organized crime, and so he wants to get back at the person who probably turned her in by winning a bunch of money and sneaking in and getting the secrets at this person's gambling club. And so he kind of ropes his 4 friends who he met over the internet into helping him. And yeah, shenanigans ensue. Then we have Loveless by Oseman. But this is set at college in the UK, because that's where Oseman is from. And it is about our main character, Georgia, figuring out that she is asexual and aromantic, and somewhat messily, like, experimenting with seeing if she can have feelings for one of her friends. But also exploring her platonic relationships and figuring out how valuable they are. Yeah, ultimately there's a lot of forgiveness and platonic friends being there for you even when you've been not good to them, and how those friendships can be lifelong and just as meaningful and unlonely making as a romantic relationship. Okay, I think the rest of these are asexual alloromantic. So first is Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. Okay, this is a story about someone who can walk through dreams, but she has to keep this power a secret because dreamwalkers are considered manipulative and like bad for the country, and it's outlawed. So she ends up going to the capital with her dad, meets a trans man. Yes. Who isn't out as trans. He is presenting as a woman because that's safer for him at this time. There's some palace intrigue, but most of the intrigue is going on inside the main character's mind, where she finds a door that doesn't lead into anybody else's brain. It kind of leads into her own brain, but there's somebody in there, and he is also, I think, asexual, and so like that's the black door that's referenced in the title. Yeah, it's fantasy with like telepathy / going into people's brains type stuff going on. Tash Tolstoy is about some high schoolers who love Tolstoy and are making a web series that's a retelling of Anna Karenina, and that's really cute and fun. And our main character is asexual and has romantic feelings for one of her friends. I think she knows she's asexual at the beginning, and kind of feels like she can't have a romantic relationship because of that. And there's like going to a convention, a video convention involved, and very messy figuring out of the romantic parts, but I ultimately thought it was really cute. And even though the main character is very silly sometimes, I still really enjoyed it. Elatsoe, which I very much cannot reach, is by Darcie Little Badger. And the text specifically says she's asexual. It doesn't say she's aromantic, the main character, and it's about her and, is he her best friend? One of her very good friends, working to uncover who killed her uncle. And the reason she knows he was murdered when this has been somewhat covered up is that she sees ghosts, and his ghost came to her and told her that he was murdered and that the rest of the family was in danger if his murderer was not caught. So she and her whole family, she talks to her family about this, and they're like, yes, let's go solve this murder, and we're totally supportive of you, and you don't have to keep secrets from us, which is really cool and not very common for a YA. The main character is 17 years old. They travel down to where the uncle lived and work on solving this mystery. The Perfect Assassin by K.A. Doore. This is set in a desert where I'm pretty sure water is a like precious commodity. And they are in this city that is up on these huge poles. Like, they're really big around, and they're also super tall. And we don't know how they were built. That's lost knowledge of the ancestors. There is a society, a secret society of assassins who like keep the place safe and take down any criminals. Is that the entirety of the judicial system for this city? I don't remember. But it is how they solve most of their problems. And so our main character is from a family that's what they do, and has grown up trained to be this, but he's not really sure he wants to kill people. And he's also asexual and is a teenager. And it's basically about him and I think his friends solving a murder of an important person. And I think when people are murdered, their ghosts come back and like cause trouble. So like you have the problem of a murderer running loose as well as angry ghosts running loose. So that's the plot. Then we have Raybearer, which the sequel of which may end up on my next video depending on whether the character is asexual, aromantic, or just asexual. The main character has a mom who doesn't like the king, and the only people who can kill the king are the people who have this magical bond with him. There's 13 of them, and they're like his council. And the magic that makes them able to kill him makes everybody who isn't them not able to kill him. So she arranges for her daughter to get onto the young king-to-be's council so that she can assassinate him later. So she travels to the palace to apply to be part of the council, starts forming relationships with the other council to be members and also with the king to be. And starts learning about history and like why the council is this way, how the society works, because there are like a bunch of different sort of states that are part of this country that the king rules over, but he has to like get along with all of the sub-rulers of these different areas. And there's a fair amount of focus on that, but a lot of the focus is on these interpersonal relationships, and a lot of like the kings through the ages have had polyamorous relationships with multiple members of their council, so that's kind of a normal thing that's expected. But in this case, the king is asexual and possibly aromantic. I am quite excited for the next book, but the first one is quite a dense read, so I'm like waiting to have just the right amount of mental energy to take the next one on. Then we have Technically You Started It, which is a YA romance that is told entirely through text bubbles, and it is about a teenager who gets a text from a boy who has the same name as the boy she really doesn't like because of friendship circle drama. So there's two boys with the exact same first, middle, and last name who are cousins who go to her school, and so there's like complications from that and like complications from the friend group problems, and like you can't be friends with both this person and that person. But our FMC is figuring out through the whole thing that she's demisexual, and through having conversations with her friends and looking stuff up online. This doesn't mean anything. This is another romance, and it is also about the FMC figuring out that she is asexual and that that's why Tinder and previous relationships haven't been working out for her in the sex area. And it's a bit longer than it needs to be. It gets a bit repetitive towards the middle. It's a 460-page book, and it's a lot about the FMC learning that it's okay to let other people take care of her, and dealing with some of the trauma that was instilled by her mom and her dad's abandonment, gradually falling for someone while trying to keep your heart safe, which a lot of romances feature. And also discovering that cuddling is quite nice when it does not lead to the expectation of sex. Then Kiss Her Once For Me, another romance. This one's sapphic, and it's a last Christmas I gave you my heart, and the very next day you gave it away type romance. That song is referenced a fair amount of times, and it's kind of based on that from the vibe I get. And so it's a second chance romance, and it's also got an engagement of convenience, fake dating trope, but with the person that is not the one she's having the romance with. Yeah, it's I think I said in my first review of it, it's kind of like The Proposal with Sandra Bullock crossed with While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock, because they are faking to their family that she's faking with someone, not the person she's having the romance with, that she's engaged this person to their family, while also a lot of it is about her falling in love with the whole family and with having a family as a whole, because she was totally lonely and isolated from her family and had crappy family. The platonic love she has with this family is a very important part of the plot, and I really love that. And wow, that's the whole list. I got through that quicker than I thought I would. On my to read pile, books that you will see featured in my Aromantic book recs video include In Shadow Dreams, Two Dark Moons, Kaiki, I think that might be how you say it, City of Strife, Common Bonds, which is a anthology I believe, Middle Game, Arrow book recommendations, or any Ace book recommendations, because I'm always looking for more of those. I would love to hear about them. I'd love to know which of these books you are interested in, if you've read any of them, and if you'd like to leave an emoji, how about a black heart? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!